Hello everyone and welcome back to the only series out there that combines the lore of Magic the Gathering with the physical cards you can win. I'm Simon and this is Friday Night Lore. So welcome back guys to another Friday and the first FNL after my small little hiatus. I'm back from my trip and so I'm ready to get back into the full swing of things, especially returning to the FNL series. Anyway, for this week's episode of Friday Night Lore, I would be amiss if we didn't talk about the much anticipated release of Conspiracy 2: Take the Crown, and some of the lore we're getting with it. Everyone seems to be swooning over the abundant reprints featured in the set, but what about its story? Does it hold to a similar standard? Well, from what I've read so far, things are starting to get really interesting on the plane of Fiora, especially for some of the resident characters of Paliano. Now, I'm not going to cover the entire lore so far for Conspiracy 2, I'm saving all that for a huge video following the story's conclusion, but I do want to jump in and feature some of its characters today. Let's take a look at the stories of some of Paliano's more ambitious citizens, the goblins known as Grenzo and Daretti. First, let's begin with Grenzo, formerly known as the foremost Dungeon Warden in the High City of Paliano. For a goblin, Grenzo has a strikingly large body, almost reminiscent of an ogre. His large form helped Grenzo become a leader amongst his goblin kind. His strength was unmatched, and he soon found himself the leader of his own gang. Always searching to expand his own power, Grenzo began traversing the underbelly of Paliano, becoming comfortable with its vast network of sewage pipes and labyrinthian dungeons. Becoming an expert in these regards, it's no surprise that the late King Brago offered this goblin the position of Dungeon Warden. With an expansive keyring which supposedly unlocked any door in the city, Grenzo commanded the secrets and shadows of the already shady world of politics on this plane. His legion of spies and assassins carried with them whispered secrets he would later use as blackmail, granting him even more influence. Yet, there was one issue Grenzo felt passionate about, one that threatened his own unique way of life. This was the progressive nature of Fiora's artificers. Inventors from the prestigious Academy of the High City of Paliano were working on blueprints for automated artifact constructs to help aid in guard duties and patrols, leaving someone like Grenzo out of both his legitimate and illegitimate forms of work. After King Brago was killed thanks to the misguided help of the elf Selvala, Grenzo sought another opportunity to influence the world above. Being Dungeon Warden, Grenzo released Selvala in order to carry a favor, murder the man behind these machines, the artificer known as Muzio. Yet, his plan was all for naught, as Selvala went against their agreement and released the constructs into the goblin sewers instead. Grenzo's troubles didn't end there, however, as the eternal King Brago's spirit was slain by the Planeswalker Kaya on the orders of Marchesa. The Dungeon Warden was stripped of both his title and his precious keys. As the former dungeon keeper was kicked out into the harsh streets of Paliano, he began plotting his revenge on this Black Rose, who now called herself Queen. While he no longer had his keys, he still had his connections. He now commands a gang of goblins, hoping to rain down chaos upon a city already beset by turmoil. Daretti, another goblin from the city of Paliano, has a somewhat similar story, but gets there in a completely different way. Unlike Grenzo, Daretti took pride in his intelligence, being one of the smartest beings on the whole plane of Fiora. Coming from a race not really known for its brains, Daretti looked to be an example of goblin honor and achievement by joining his fellow thinkers at the Academy of the High City of Paliano. The Academy was the greatest institution on the plane for accredited thinkers, a structure built upon knowledge and truth. In a place like this, with the most progressive inventors of the day, Daretti hoped his background could be forgotten and his works be viewed off their merits, the truth. This ambitious goblin took to his books and learned all that he could, with his own mind turning thoughts of pure genius. He discovered the base foundation needed to comprise cogwork machinery, a huge step in the technology of Paliano, one that could usher in a new age of automated marvels. Daretti began working in his own laboratory, even getting an assistant, Muzio. Yes, the same one targeted by Grenzo. But even with his amazing works, Daretti was left uninvited by the mages of the Academy. But he had waited long enough. He would offer himself to them. Despite what Daretti may have thought about the truth and the Academy as a whole, it just didn't seem to match the reality of things. The city's elite high mages saw him as nothing more than another scheming goblin, one unfit to walk their honorable halls regardless of his work. They turned him away, not because he wasn't good enough, but because they believed he would soil the Academy's good reputation just for being a goblin. Defeated, Daretti returned to his workshop, still determined to make a name for himself outside of the shadow of his peers. Yet, on one day, as he continued working on his constructs, an accident occurred, causing a massive explosion. When the flames died and the ash settled, no sign of the goblin could be found. Daretti was presumed dead. In actuality, Daretti's Planeswalker spark had ignited and he was spirited away from the explosion to relative safety. Although, as a result of the blast, he lost the functionality of his legs. Always being the clever goblin he was, Daretti fashioned himself a moving contraption which acted as his new legs, allowing him to explore the endless multiverse for more knowledge. But eventually, Daretti would return to his home of Paliano, and what he found there displeased him. His work on cogs was stolen after his disappearance, his former assistant Muzio now using his studies to create constructs for the city. The praise for this breakthrough, although written all over the work itself, wasn't given to Daretti, but to a discredited old fool named Zodrius. Although cogwork machinery was made illegal by the new rule of Queen Marchesa, the rights to this discovery were his and his alone. Something needed to be done. The inventive goblin brokered an alliance with another of his struggling race, Grenzo. Together, they would mete out vengeance to all those who wronged them. The Academy, Queen Marchesa, none would be safe from their wrath. The pair started with the old mage Zodrius, breaking into his home, subduing his household guards, and confronting him with his transgressions. Daretti couldn't take back the credit for his works. No one would believe a goblin over this respected figure. So he killed him, starting both himself and Grenzo on their path towards all-out war with Paliano itself. And there you go guys, a little look into the turmoil currently going on in Conspiracy 2 and some of my personal favorite characters from the set. As I said, I'm not going over the complete story for Conspiracy 2 just yet. I just wanted to take this time to at least introduce some of the players involved. Let me know your thoughts on these banding goblins and the story thus far in the comments below. Anyways, it's FNL, and that means it's time to announce the giveaway card, or cards of the week. Of course, you guys knew this was coming. This week, I'll be giving away a copy of Daretti Scrap Savant from Commander 2014, and Grenzo, Dungeon Warden from the original Conspiracy set. To enter for your chance to win these cards, all you have to do is be a subscriber to the channel and leave a comment on this video. At the end of the week, I'll choose one at random and announce them at the end of next week's FNL. Speaking of which, it's time to announce last week's huge winner for my End of Eldritch Moon special. If you recall, I know it was a while back, the giveaway was for a copy of Emrakul the Promised End and an entire Eldritch Moon Fat Pack. And the winner of those awesome prizes is Force of Will Pittsburgh. Congratulations, just contact me via email on the back end of my channel or via Twitter to claim your prizes. And that's gonna do it for this week's return of Friday Night Lore. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, consider giving it a like and sharing it with a friend. It goes a long way in supporting future content. You can also support the channel by becoming a patron on Patreon. Not only do you support the videos you love, but you also get entered into awesome giveaways every month. Enter to win Eldritch Moon cards, Fat Packs, and even a booster box. If it sounds interesting, go ahead and check it out, linked in the description below. In any case guys, thank you all so much for watching, and as always, I'll see you next time.